Okay, well, welcome everyone. I don't have too much to say, just excited to chat to you guys because that means we're ready to start our season, which is great. And the kids are super excited about this weekend. And yeah, everything's going to be pretty condensed for us. We're looking at, I guess, 8 or 9 weeks until hopefully NCAA championships. And it's kind of strange. It feels like we're starting the season, which we are, but also we've been back for a semester as well. So a lot of work's already been done. So it's kind of a strange feeling, but overall we're just excited to get the season going, and happy to answer some questions from everyone.
Okay, we can start with questions.
Hey, Lindsay, I don't see a raised hand feature like I normally do. I just see a mute, unmute. So, I mean, Kevin and I are, I guess, the one, so we can just go back and forth if that's okay.
That works.
Yeah. So hey, John, just take me through. I heard you talking to Kevin there about, shooting some virtual matches. But since the summer, first of all, how hard was it for your athletes in the summer? Because unlike maybe basketball where you can go out into the court and get up some shots, I mean, how did they practice through a lot of the quarantine stuff? And then what did you guys do in the fall?
Sure. I think it was really, really difficult for them in the summer, for sure. I mean, it was quite a widespread. We have athletes from different countries and around the States. Some of them have the ability to train at home. For air rifle, at least, you just need 10 meters in your basement or through your house or something. So some of them were able to do that. Some of them for short periods, I think, had a local club that was open, but then others had absolutely, nothing from March until they came back here pretty much. And then it is a sport, we do, training where we just call it, holding or dry firing, and whereby you might just get in position. And even if you're just pointing at a wall, you're training your body. I mean, it becomes kind of yoga-like, but you're training your positions and your body to just be still. You're not actually going through your shooting process of shooting shots, but you're in position and you're getting the physical training of that. So some of them had, anyone has the ability to do that, but yeah, a lot of them weren't really able to shoot a whole lot. So it was definitely challenging. But I think the biggest thing and this was probably for all athletes that coaches have talked about, the mental challenge, that the mental uncertainty that went on for so long from March. A lot of them had competitions, from Junior Olympics in April, and then national championships in the summer to international matches. And it was kind of a steady progression of things getting canceled to finally the realization that just nothing's going to happen, for a long time. And then in the fall, I think there was, it was kind of a bit of both, like the excitement of having some normality of coming back to school, seeing teammates, friends, and getting to come in here and train every day. And now, obviously, that was coupled with the disappointment of not having our fall season and that getting canceled and not having competition. But, we try to, obviously, as coaches, push the positives and focus on them as much as possible. And the positives were that, the rest of their lives were the same as athletes. They could, use the study center. They were still able to work out with their strength coach. They were able to come in here and practice every day. So, we had to, make the best of it. And I think attitude was like really the key word there, just them deciding what type of attitude they wanted to have. And I think we definitely got a lot of great training and great work in the fall semester. And hopefully that gives us a little, some good foundations for leading into the spring right now.
Some of your opponents that you'll be going against for national honors, Kentucky and Ole Miss and Alaska Fairbanks, were able to shoot in the fall. How much of an advantage is that for them?
Oh, it's definitely a big advantage for sure. They're getting matches in, they're getting that experience. They're getting, as we discussed, like scores on the board, as it were. They have their 3-score average. Of course, they can improve on it, but even just that knowledge of, hey, we've got 3 scores on the board. But yeah, you learn so much from matches. You gain experience. You adjust your training from it. All kinds of things. So definitely an advantage for them. But we can only control what we can control. So now we just have to go, hey, we've got condensed season, as it were, and use all the training and, like I said, foundations hard work that we put in last semester. And this weekend, get at it, go shoot our first match. And I'm sure we'll make a few mistakes, but I'm sure we'll be able to learn from it and adjust, and that'll benefit us for the next match the following weekend, and so on and so on. So 8 or 9 weeks is still a lot of time. We've got a lot of matches in between now and the end of the season. And for right now anyway, we're probably just riding off the excitement of getting to travel and compete, and hopefully we'll run with that.
So John, the decision not to compete in the fall for WVU, was it a school decision, conference? And yeah, start with that.
It was a school decision. Obviously, Shane and admin's decision, and, probably, exactly why they made the decision. Obviously that's for them to discuss, but a decision that we made, a handful of other schools were in the same boat. And yeah, like as you saw, not conference or nationally related in terms of the sport of rifle.
Okay. And then you mentioned virtual matches. So what do you get out of that? And what do you lose when you don't have somebody beside you as an opponent, competing against?
You lose, in our team's words the other day, they were like, well, now we're going to shoot real matches. So I guess, it's when you're doing them, they're just not, they're not real matches. We try to create as much of a match environment as we could. But I think it can feel just like another day of practice, as it were. Yes, we're a sport that has the ability to do that. So obviously you just simply couldn't do that for soccer or basketball or things like that. So it is kind of neat that we are able to do that. And you do learn things from it. When you actually shoot a match, it is a little bit different. You've got your clock on you've got your time limit. You go through your whole pre-match routine. There's really sort of a score that counts, as it were. And we really tried to push that. And certainly for GARCs, or our conference, we're going to use that for our conference rankings and our regular season and for all conference awards. So there was something on the line for sure. So it wasn't just hey, we're doing a practice match this weekend just amongst ourselves. But for sure, it's also not the same. It's not the same as another team being there, knowing that it's a match like that. No spectators, no anything like that. So a bit of both. We tried to create as much positive things from it, but there's no replacement for the real thing.
Now, looking at your roster, you've got 2 or 3 upperclassmen that are obviously you'll be leaning on to be the core of the team. But how important is their leadership and bringing along some of your younger athletes going to be this year? Because you're stacked with 4 freshmen, a couple sophomores that got some experience last year, but didn't get the NCAA experience they usually get.
For sure. Yeah. Leadership is super important for any team. It can come in all kind of different varieties, as it were, but, the older ones definitely, we lean on them to set the example and to, pass information and knowledge down to the younger ones and be a guide, as it were, on a daily basis. And I think they did a good job of that last semester, and helping provide or helping promote, the right team culture and atmosphere and bringing the team together. As we get into matches this semester, again, really important, just that experience that they have of being to some of the places that we'll go to, or just having shot a lot more college matches and things like that. So, we try and promote that as sort of sharing information and sharing that experience, and just having those kind of more experienced heads there. So yeah, it's vitally important. And leadership's, such an important aspect for any sport. So, hopefully that'll continue this semester. So far we've had some good leadership overall, and we hope that'll continue.
I know you're just trying, if you can, to wherever the NCAAs or GARCs are going to be in the regular season. You've got that at Ohio State again this year. How important is that? And again, maybe even a little bit more important this year with the compressed schedule.
Yeah, sorry, what was the very first part of the question there?
Trying to get to shoot a regular season match at the place where the NCAAs are being held.
Sure. So, we'll probably put this out later, but I guess you guys can get it first. Nationals is going to be at Ohio State, and we are actually going to go there. It's not on our schedule. We've been just trying to, find the right date to put that in there. And we're probably going to do a day trip where we just, leave early in the morning, shoot the match and come back. As you know, as we discussed too, our qualifying system, we need 3 different scores at 3 different venues. Right now, we only have Akron, and then Kentucky is the last, the second away trip, and obviously lots of home ones. But Kentucky being the last weekend before qualifiers, if something happened with quarantines and COVIDs and things like that, that would leave us without a third score. So we're going to go to Ohio State. Partly, like you said, for that reason, so that we can go to the place where championships are going to be. They're hoping to have championships in their field house, like we did here. So we probably won't shoot the regular season match on that range. So that takes away some of the experience of going there. But, there's still little things of just, we should be able to see it, go shoot on their regular range, just being there. We'll pick some things up that hopefully gives a bit of familiarity when we go back there. So we'll probably put a release out pretty soon with that date. But so that'll at least give us another road trip. And we're fortunate that it's close enough that we can, get out there, compete, and come back in the same day. GARX, we don't know yet. We don't know how GARX is going to go, where it's going to be. There's lots of possibilities there that, it could be a virtual match. We may be able to bring some teams up here and do it, but we just don't know if it'll be a full tournament style with everyone in the same place. And so that's kind of still up in the air. And obviously when that's finalized, we'll be able to announce that too. But it's a normal season. Absolutely. It's, I always like to go to that venue. Ohio State, some of us have been there a few times before, but like you said, we have such a young team, a lot of freshmen and sophomores that, they haven't been to a lot of places that we would go this year with doing home and away every year. So that's something that we'll just deal with. And it's part of this year being different as well. That's what we've tried to preach to the team, that just things are different. We almost have to just be really grateful of every little thing that we do get, from matches to practice and to every test that we come out of and everyone's negative and things like that. And there's going to be a lot of little details or little things that we can't do or aren't able to do as normal, but that's okay. We just have to roll with it and make the best of it.
John, you mentioned testing. I assume that ramps up as you get closer to competition, or is there a number you're going through and you do it the same amount of times per week, no matter what?
Yes. So, everything goes through medical staff and I think from Big 12 stuff, but we're classed from NCAA and Big 12 as a low risk sport. Naturally, it goes without saying, we're pretty socially distanced and stuff. So currently we are once a week. I think last semester we were once every 2 weeks, but we're once a week rather than 2 or 3 times a week, like maybe more high risk sports. But also, with a test before competition as well. So, this semester with a competition, almost every weekend we'll end up testing probably about twice a week for most of it. So probably pretty similar to other teams. There's obviously other sports that have a lot more physical contact and are probably doing a little bit more testing than we are. We didn't have any positive tests, last semester since we've come back, which has been great. Hopefully that continues, and we've still to get a little bit of clarity on what the testing will look like, for NCAAs and things like that. But I'm sure our testing will remain the same all semester, before competition, like every single sport, and once a week general testing as well.
So did you change practice times because of COVID? I mean, staggering, athletes coming in, not having as many all together at the same time?
Sure. We haven't changed anything as of yet, where we kind of operate, more often than not, this is how we've always really operated. We're not really a sport where, hey, practice is, 2 to 5, come in for your 3 hours. they're able to, myself and Sarah, our assistant coach, are typically here at the range all day long. Our office is here, and they don't need their teammates to do their training, similar to maybe golf and unlike other sports. So we've always often been spread out a little bit during the day. If someone has a engineering lab or a chemistry lab and they can't miss it, then they might come in the morning and get their training done then. And, we like everyone to train mostly together as a team, but often there's a bit of staggering. So we had enough staggering last semester. We'll kind of see how the class schedules work out this semester. But we haven't done anything too crazy with creating pods right now. Towards the end of the semester, probably something that we'll have to consider and really think about. I mean, like a lot of teams, we have some of them living together anyway. So you probably almost have to break it down that way a little bit too. So we'll just have to wait and see. But we have a small team, and kind of have to weigh up, pros and cons of how we do things, or if we can do enough social distancing in the range that a bunch of them can come and practice together, we'll do that too. So that's kind of we'll play that by ear as we get closer to the end of the season.
Kevin asked earlier about the roster, but what do you know about this team? I mean, how good can they be? I mean, here, the expectations are, if you don't win the NCAA tournament, that you're considered falling short.
Sure. I know it's tough. It's tough expectations. This team's good. We're excited about this team. I think one thing that strikes me already is that we have really good depth, possibly more depth than we've had for quite a long time. And so, I've no idea who our counting five will be at the end of the season, which is great. I think all 10 athletes that we have on the roster have the potential to be an All-American and have been shooting some really good scores in one or both guns last semester in practice and in general. So it's going to be just exciting to see how they evolve. All the freshmen that have come in have been performing well and have a lot of potential and a lot of experience too. So, who knows what the ceiling is for the team, but there's a lot of competition within the team, which is great, and a lot of, really high quality rifle athletes. And so, we'll just have to wait and see how the season evolves. I think, the next month will be really interesting to actually get a bunch of matches in. I think we might even have, 5 matches in the next month. So that would be great for them to get those reps, and then we'll start seeing things shake out. But, like you said, the expectations are always high, and we try and manage those as much as possible and try and have them create their own expectations so that they're not looking at the past or feeling that they have to do this or have to do that. They have to just do the best that they can do. Every year is different. Every team is different. I think this team's done a really good job of forming their own identity, their own culture, creating a new group. I think that's easier when there's such a large freshman class that it is a very different team from last year with so many leaving and so many coming in. But no, in all, we're excited about this group. They've been a lot of fun to work with on a daily basis all of last semester, and we're excited to see how this semester goes.
Any more questions?